in Auburn.
Welcome to Sports Night in Auburn.
And welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn.
2 days. That's all that stands between dreams and reality, because in just 48 hours, Auburn football stars of the past will become the futures of the NFL as they take center stage at the 2025 NFL Draft. My name is Vince Wolfram. Welcome into Sports Night in Auburn. There's been no shortage of NFL draftees in Auburn football's history. This year, Auburn could see only a handful of players selected. The 2025 NFL Draft, which starts Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Time and runs through Saturday, is sure to see a few names from Auburn taken through 7 rounds. But the Tigers have had 5 players drafted each of the past 2 off seasons, and the projections have that number down considerably. Micah Farmer joins me in the studio now to talk about this highly anticipated NFL Draft. Micah, you've been monitoring these Auburn prospects all off season. You've seen every mock draft. Give us the lowdown here on the potential selections from Auburn starting on Thursday night.
Well, Vince, the headliners are Jarquez Hunter and Keandre Lambert-Smith. Both of them, I think, could have as high as a second-round ceiling, although I would expect KLS to go in the third more likely. Jalen McLeod and Eugene Asante are also, I think, locks to be drafted. Rivaldo Fairweather, I think, has an outside chance as a tight end. Unfortunately for him, it's a very strong tight end class, which might think he goes undrafted. And then Auburn quarterback Peyton Thorne, I've seen him pop up in some mock drafts, but I would be surprised if he makes it in, even in a down QB class. I don't think it's quite there for Thorne. But Jarquez is definitely the headliner for this Auburn class, which is even more impressive in how stacked this running back class is this year.
Yeah, a lot of Auburn legends hoping to make their names known on the next level. Micah, my favorite part of the NFL Draft is seeing who can produce come the fall and with the start of the new NFL season. Who is one Auburn prospect that you think could surprise some people if they're given the opportunity to play on one of these 32 NFL teams?
Well, Vince, I think it's the guy that surprised me the most this year, and that was Keandre Lambert-Smith. Came in as a bit of an unknown out of Penn State. We knew he could separate, didn't know a ton else about him, put up some okay stats up there in Pennsylvania, and then proceeded to absolutely light up the SEC. Still think he was robbed of first-team SEC, absolutely deserved it. And I think if an NFL team gives him a role that fits his play styles, either a receiver 2 or a receiver 3, you can see some very solid production at the next level out of KLS.
Outside of just the Auburn guys now, Micah, let's take a look at the draft just in its entirety. It's been announced already that Cam Ward is likely to be chosen at that number 1 overall pick. Outside of that, Micah, how wide open is this NFL draft?
It's absolutely wide open, Vince, and you're right about Cam Ward. And we knew he was going to the Titans as soon as he said on stream that Tony Pollard was a top running back in the NFL. But there are still there's probably only about 2 or 3, probably 3 blue chip prospects in this draft, and those guys are Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, and Ashton Jeanty. Outside of that, there's some solid players that probably have top 10 hype in a Mason Graham or a Tyler Warren, guys like that. But other than that, you look at guy number 11 and guy number 50 in this draft, they are honestly not that far apart. It's not a top-heavy draft. There is not elite talent at the top for the most part, but it's a very deep draft, and that can cause a lot of chaos in the first round night. I think one guy that I've seen mocked pretty low that I would love to see in the first round, I think he could absolutely make it, is Kentucky's Maxwell Hairston at corner. There are a couple guys I also think could fall, like Michigan's Will Johnson, despite being an incredible corner in my opinion, has struggled sometimes in the athletic testing, and being a press man guy, I think that might hurt him a little bit. But in short, it is absolutely wide open. I think anyone could go anywhere, and one position to keep the eye on is the running backs. It is one of the best running back classes we have seen in some time, and I think you could see as many as 3 go in the first round on Thursday.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. A lot of surprises, a lot of question marks to be answered in this draft. And as we know, the draft and the transfer portal are out here taking all of our Auburn favorites. A lot of movement, a lot of change across the face of football, and we have the tiger by the tail and are going to catch up through this portal plunder. Plenty of transfers at Auburn football has walking out the door. Micah, sort of help me walk through some of these Auburn football exits that we've seen over the last couple of weeks.
Well, Vince, there are 3 guys that have already found new homes. They are Terrence Love, the safety, who's off to Colorado. Cornerback J.C. Hart is off to Utah to join Ja'Kai Howard, at least in the athletic program. And then offensive lineman Braden Joyner is headed up to Indiana to Purdue. And then the secondary just keeps losing players. Tyler Scott and C.J. Johnson, 2 other corners, have also gotten into the portal. Bit of hate to the Auburn secondary. However, I think Auburn still has a potential to be a top 5 corner duo with Rayon Strader and Jay Crawford on the outside. So, and then also kicker Ian Vachon is in the portal. Special teamers deserve some love as well.
Yeah, no doubt. And the secondary took a hit there, but good thing about the transfer portal, it's a lot like a boomerang. It leaves, but it also comes back in pretty exciting fashion. Auburn football, they've been lucky enough to snag some studs that entered the portal from other schools. Micah, now let's look at some of the most notable incoming transfers to the Plains.
Well, Vince, the most notable guy for me is James Ash, the defensive lineman out of Florida A&M. Did not light the stat sheet on fire, but you watch the tape is good. I think this guy has great upside for Auburn. Linebacker Caleb Wheatland out of Maryland is another guy who won't blow you away athletically, but is absolutely incredible at knowing where he's supposed to be and getting to that spot. Then more depth is added in the trenches. On the defensive line, Jay Hardy from Liberty, and on the offensive line, Malachi Harris from Austin Peay. So I really like what Coach Freeze and the Auburn staff has done in the portal, especially in the trenches. Still super excited to see Xavier Chaplin come in at offensive tackle for Auburn this year, the Virginia Tech transfer. But Vince, you know me, always looking forward to football season.
Yeah, off season is a time of work these days with the transfer portal. Now we're going to switch from football to basketball. The hoop season finished just earlier this month, but the transfer portal never sleeps, and it's going berserk. Let's start with the dudes walking out the door. Players from freshmen to elders are throwing names into the portal, hoping to get a bag somewhere new. And a big one that has changed from what we spoke about last week, Micah, came as a shock to a lot of Auburn fans this week. Chad Baker-Mazzara announced last week that he'll be exploring other schools. He posted a quick thank you message to Auburn on Twitter, and the rumors have been ablaze since where CBM might land. Another Auburn guy that has entered the portal was center Adarian Scott, looking for a new home. And we talked about Ja'Kai Howard entering the portal last week. Well, he found his home. He's going to the Utah Utes to play in the red and white. Larry Vickers has been doing work as well. Micah.
Just for a moment to the outgoing players from the women's team who have committed. Savannah Scott is off to UCF, and then Oyindamala Kimbawala is off to Syracuse as well. But now let's hop into those new faces here, Vince.
Let's look at the new faces because, Micah, as you knew, Bruce Pearl and his staff, they've been in their bag. 5 new names have been added to the Call God phone book of Bruce Pearl and that squad. New recruits, they're keeping the energy high for Auburn men's basketball this offseason, who's trying to replace 11 seniors from this Final Four team. And like I said, Larry Vickers has been on a tear as well.
Yeah, he certainly has, Vince. And let's start on the men's side, and it's the Keyshawn duo up first of Hall and Murphy. Hall from UCF and Murphy from Michigan State, I think, are both going to be great impact players for the Tigers this season. Staying with the Power 4 teams, Kevin Overton was brought in from Texas Tech, put up decent stats and decent minutes for the Red Raiders this past season. We mentioned Abdul Bashir already, but just wanted to give his JUCO Casper College a bit of a shout-out since we didn't mention it last time. Then Emeka Opurum from Butler Community College is also on the way to the Plains, as well as Elijah Freeman from Lincoln Memorial. So we know what Bruce Pearl can do with these guys from the lower ranks of college basketball. See if he can do it again. But you mentioned Larry Vickers. He has also been on a tear. You look at the incoming women to the Auburn program, which needs it desperately right now. So credit to the coaching staff for going out and getting these girls. First up, it's Eric Ngui from UCF. So more UCF headliners heading into the Auburn program on both sides, men's and women's. Maya Pettigrew from Rutgers is incoming as well. Sienna Richardson from SMU is also on her way to the Plains, as well as Harrison Kulabe, who is a freshman recruit coming into the Plains. And then Marquise Daniels' daughter, Soraya, originally entered the portal but took her name out of the portal and will be coming back to Auburn because, as we know, in the transfer portal era, it's just as important to re-recruit your own players every year.
Yeah, that's a big get for Larry Vickers and his staff. Micah, this transfer portal has been keeping us on our toes all offseason. Certainly something in the air when it comes to the off seasons these days with the transfer portal. A lot more motion, a lot more things changing around, but one thing stays the same. Albert Osorio is one with Mother Nature. He's rocking and rolling with the weather update when we come back here on Sports Night in Auburn after this quick break.
Welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn. I'm Albert Osorio, and here's your weather outlook for this week on the Plains. The Auburn Diamond Boys are taking on Georgia Tech on Tuesday while facing a 3-game series against Mississippi State on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, while the Auburn Diamond Girls will face South Alabama on Wednesday, and they are facing their weekend series against South Carolina. Auburn Track and Field will also host their Tiger Track Classic this Saturday on the Plains. There could be possible delays for both Auburn baseball and softball on Tuesday and Wednesday due to potential showers and thunderstorms, but should clear up going into the weekend. The highs will be around 80 and the lows will be down to 62, which are enjoyable temperatures that don't need too much bundling up. And that's all I have for your weather outlook for this week. When we come back, you will hear more from Vince, Gehrig, Maddie, and Kegan. Once again, you're watching Sports Night in Auburn. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn. Albert said highs in the 80s, lows in the 60s. Sounds like a win in my book. I know me and my guy Kegan Miller, we're going to be at these games this weekend on the Plains, living it up. And Keegs, heading into last week, Auburn baseball was on a tear like we had never seen before. A full week of games against literally the best teams in baseball this week. You're here to tell us how that panned out for Butch Thompson and company.
Yeah, last week was what you'd call a forgettable week for the Auburn Tigers. It started on a high note with the Tigers defeating Jack State 4-3 to grab their 6th win in a row, and they won it in style. Tied going into the 9th, Lucas Steele launched a souvenir into the stands to give the Orange and Blue a 1-run lead and the win. Then it was on to the big boys, Texas, the number 1 team in the country, and they have been for some time, with good reason. The Longhorns swept the Tigers, winning big in games 2 and 3. Game 1 was the only game Auburn was really even in the hunt. Starter Sam Dutton pitched a solid 5 2/3 innings, giving his team a chance. But other than a 2-run homer early from Mike Irish, the bats couldn't get going, and the Tigers lost 3-2. Andres Alvarez, who has been given the past few Game 3 starts, struggled, giving up 5 runs, including 2 home runs in his first and only inning. With the playoffs nearing, the Tigers will need some help in Game 3, which during regionals could be the most important game of all. I think they will find that help in Christian Chatterton, who has been their midweek starter up till now and has been putting up some pretty good numbers. The Tigers will look to bounce back tonight at home against Georgia Tech. The game is currently tied 0-0, and this game won't be a gimme. Trust me, Georgia Tech is solid. And this weekend, Auburn hosts Mississippi State for Tiger Duggan Nights. There'll be some pretty cool promotional giveaways, including a beverage hat and some NASCAR-themed posters. I know Mike is excited, and so am I, because this should be a good weekend for Butch and the boys to get back on their feet and grab a series win. Now I'll pitch it to Gehrig for some softball.
Thank you, Kegan. The Malvos were back in Knoxville this weekend as their Tigers took on the 4th-ranked Tennessee Lady Vols. Each game was well fought, but the Tigers were unable to bring a win back to the Plains. They fell 4-2 on Thursday, 6-4 on Friday, and 4-1 on Saturday. With just 2 series left and only 1 conference series remaining, the Tigers are in need of a big push to make the NCAA tournament. Before they get to those series, however, the Tigers have midweek action in Mobile. They will travel to play the South Alabama Jaguars this Wednesday at 6 p.m. And after that, the number 13 South Carolina Gamecocks come to the Plains for a 3-game series in Alumni Weekend. Now let's run over to Maddie, who has some breaking news.
This past weekend, Auburn track and field traveled to Gainesville, Florida for the Tom Jones Invitational, where senior Micah made headlines. The 2024 Paris Olympian competed in the 200 invite, where he not only claimed the first sub-20-second performance for the outdoor season so far, but his 19.99-second sprint opened his outdoor season with the world-leading time in the event. And for the 5th consecutive time, Jacoby Thorpe is on the Bowerman men's mid-outdoor watch list. Last season, Thorpe took the SEC Outdoor 110-meter hurdle title and posted for the top 7 times in 110-meter hurdle history. His efforts continued through the indoor 60-meter hurdle event, where he secured the national title and broke his own school record. Great things are in store for the sophomore this outdoor season. Tuesday rankings for track and field posted, and the women's team currently holds the number 18 spot after their Week 3 performances. On to a winning weekend for the Tigers on the road. The first stop in Winston-Salem, North Carolina for the Wake Forest Invitational, where Brenda Jepticher not only broke the school record during her 10K debut, but she also broke the facility record and is number 16 in the NCAA. Her final time for the 10K was 32 minutes and 42.28 seconds. Jepticher took the event win and beat the closest competitor by 52 seconds. In Gainesville, the team continued the successful weekend at the Tom Jones Invitational. Kicking things off, Kyle Brown took the first event win in the men's hammer throw with a season best of 67.4 meters. In the long haul, Samantha Rogers took the 1,500-meter win with a personal best of 4 minutes and 24.15 seconds, with Haley Howard taking the 5,000-meter with a collegiate best time of 17 minutes and 18.16 seconds. On the short side, Kansole Ajayi won the 100-meter with a time of 9.96. Last but not least, Megan Haig broke her own school record and took the shot put title with a throw of 17.72 meters. Yesterday, the Auburn family rolled Toomer's Corner for a championship celebration for the SEC indoor champion Micah and the SEC and NCAA indoor champion Jacoby Thorpe.
Is leading the nation in their events right here, right now. So look forward to seeing bigger and better things from this group. Starting this Saturday, we open our home slate.
Track and field athletes kicked off the rolling at Toomer's Corner, and special guests like the newly hired head coach of the women's basketball program got their chance to celebrate.
Well, that was a good throw.
This Saturday, the Auburn track and field team competes at home as they host the Tiger Track Classic and Alumni Weekend for the Auburn Track and Field Alumni Reunion.
Place to be. Maddie, Gehrig, thank you very much. For Auburn football, the spotlight for alumni is this weekend at the NFL Draft. We kicked off the show with it, and we're going to test you on it now. I got the question, and hopefully you got the answer. Since the league began in 1936, how many Auburn players have been drafted to the NFL Draft? Letter A, 450, B, 79, C, 136, or D, 300. We'll have the answer when we come back. What's happening? Welcome back. We have the trivia question. We have the answer to the trivia question we left you with before the break. Since the league began in 1936, how many Auburn players have been drafted into the NFL Draft? The smart $1 million answer is letter D, 300 players. Of those 300, plenty were first-rounders too. 32 in the first round, and 4 of them were number 1 overall picks. Cam Newton in 2011, Andre Bruce in 1988, Bo Jackson in 1986, and Tucker Frederickson in 1965. Some studs all across the board there. Whole lot of money and a whole lot of winning there too. Auburn tennis was trying to follow the same golden brick road last weekend at the SEC Championships in South Carolina. Maddie Baughn is here to tell us more.
The first match for men's tennis in the SEC Championships was last Thursday. The Tigers faced Kentucky in the second round. The championship run began with a secure doubles point from partners Billy Blades and Joey Phillips and Jake Kennedy and Hamza Nasruddinov. On the singles side, the Wildcats closed the lead, finding 3 points. Wins from Alex Versina, Billy Blades, and Joey Phillips sent the Tigers to the quarterfinals with a final of 4-3. In the quarterfinals, Auburn faced the number 4 ranked Texas tennis team. Auburn doubles partners found the only win of the match and secured the doubles point. However, Texas took the singles point and ended the Tigers' championship run in Columbia, South Carolina. The 2025 NCAA Championships are hosted by Baylor University, with opening rounds beginning May 2nd and May 3rd. The championships will be held at the Hurd Tennis Center in Waco, Texas. Talking more court, Gehrig has the latest on the women's team.
Auburn fans have been highly anticipating hosting the SEC Women's Tennis Championships at the Yarborough Tennis Center, and it did not disappoint. The Tigers opened their quest for the conference title with a big 4-2 win over number 13 Vanderbilt on Friday afternoon. After dropping the doubles point, Auburn roared back with 4 singles points to clinch the win. Angela Okatoy, Ava Haraster, Myrna Raffet, Ava Esposito, and Alice Batesti all came up big, winning their individual matches and sending the Tigers through to the semifinals. In those semifinals, the Tigers faced the top-ranked Texas Longhorns. This one was entertaining from the very first serve, but ultimately ended in a heartbreaking 4-3 defeat for Auburn. DJ Bennett upset the number 2 player in all of collegiate tennis, Mary Stoyana, in her singles match, and Alice Batesti defeated Lexington Reed for the Tigers' 2 singles points. Doubles was dominated by Auburn as the pair of DJ Bennett and Ava Haraster picked up a 6-2 win, followed by a 7-6 win from Angela Okatoy and Myrna Raffet. Though they came up a bit short, it was just the 3rd time in program history that Auburn reached the SEC Championship semifinal. Up next for women's tennis is the NCAA regional competition. The Tigers' opponents will be revealed on April 28th, and the play will start on May 2nd. Number 2 Auburn Equestrian started their quest for another national championship on Thursday, but their dreams were cut short after falling in the quarterfinals of the NCEA Championships. The 7th-ranked Georgia Bulldogs, who would go on to win the whole thing, proved to be too much to get past as they cruised by the Tigers 13-4. Auburn senior Ellie Farino won in both flat and fences to cap off an incredible career. The loss brings the equestrian season to a close, but there is no doubt that they will be back very soon. Now let's send it to Maddie, who has updates on another team that knows a thing or two about winning national championships.
In Savannah, Georgia, men's golf ended their regular season at the Invitational at the Ford. The Tigers brought home the bronze with 4 golfers finishing in a top 20 position. Jackson Koiven held a 1-under for a tie in 7th, along with Caden Pope. Carson Baca finished in 13th, and Brendan Valdez finished in 19th. Last week, Brendan Valdez and Jackson Koiven were both named top 10 semifinalists for the Ben Hogan Award. Heading into the postseason, men's golf will travel to Georgia for the SEC Championships, where the team competes to defend their title. The Tigers have spent the past 80 weeks in the top 5 rankings and currently hold the number 2 spot. Good luck to the men's golf team this Wednesday through Sunday. On the green, Gehrig has more on the women's team.
On the women's side, women's golf was in action this past week at the SEC Championships in Bel Air, Florida. 2 low scores from Anna Davis and Karis Warby had the Tigers in podium contention after round 1. The next 2 rounds were not kind to Auburn, however, as a final day score of 8 over and a 54-hole score of 13 over dropped the Tigers out of contention for the match play portion of the championship. Head coach Melissa Llewellyn and her team will look to put the past behind them and get ready for NCAA regionals starting on May 5th.
Last week, volleyball closed their spring exhibition game season with a match in Tifton, Georgia against the Florida Gators. The game featured a strong Tiger team with powerful plays from Belle Zimmerman, freshman Kate Mansfield, and freshman Izzy Orton. On April 10th, the SEC schedule for Auburn volleyball was released. The Tigers open conference play with a match against Alabama on September 26th in Neville Arena. You can catch the Tigers at home for matches against Mississippi State, Vanderbilt, Missouri, Arkansas, Texas A&M, and Texas before the SEC Championships in November.
Maddie, there really is no better segue into an elite level trivia question than saying Auburn volleyball's conference schedule begins with Alabama. Let's get straight to it here. Last Sports Night in Auburn trivia question of the semester. What is Auburn volleyball's record against Alabama at home in Neville Arena? A, 29-10, B, 20-19, C, 17-22, or D, 9-30? No, put your phone down. Don't Google it. Just get it right. We'll see you in 2 minutes. You see it, you like it, you want it, you got it. This is Sports Night in Auburn. Welcome back. Before the break, we asked, what is Auburn volleyball's record against Alabama at home in Neville Arena? The long-awaited answer is letter B, 20-19. I think that is as close of a record as you would have expected between these two programs. Auburn versus Alabama, always an intense one no matter the sport, and the record absolutely proves that, with Auburn proving to just be one game better. That SEC opener in women's volleyball is sure going to be a great one. This has been a great time here on Sports Night in Auburn. We've had plenty of great moments, a lot of hard work, and tons of laughs on this show. As the curtain begins to fall on another memorable season here of Sports Night in Auburn, we're going to take a moment to look back. 5 moments, each one a snapshot of the fun, the flair, and the hilariously unforgettable. Let's start with number 5, when the weather took a turn. Not outside, but in the studio. Chaz Calfhammer stepped in front of the screen, and just about everywhere else. A forecast for laughs? You bet.
All right. Thanks, Vinny Fresh, the Mesh, the Man, 502 represent, Trinity High School product. If you've been enjoying this warm-up, you're not alone. Making it a great afternoon. I can't do this anymore. I'm locked. Get out there, support the Tigers, and enjoy the warm weather while we have it. War Eagle. I had it backwards in my head. I'm sorry.
Chaz, should I move to? Oh, okay, got it. All right, number 4. We rewind to the fall, the hum of Tiger Walk and trending Tigers. This time, it wasn't about the X's and O's. It was about the fits and the fabrics. Val Heffernan, Cohen Dalzell, and I were breaking down pregame style like it was game film, and somehow one suit jacket found itself a part of a truly well-seasoned segment.
It's something that I didn't expect to see from him. You know, here on Tiger Walk, we've been seeing the classics, the navy, the grays, the whites, but this is something that I love. The pop of color really adds to the outfit, and he looks fly. Well, those are our top 5 fit checks of the week, and Eugene's is definitely my favorite. Boys, what'd y'all think about those?
I was looking at it, and it does give me a little bit of a pasta look. It's got the rigatoni.
Right?
My guy Micah pointed out, if I'm Olive Garden and he's rigatoni, I think we'd make a pretty good team. Throw a breadstick and some salad in there,
y'all
and
be
it's
good
over.
to go.
It's
Exactly.
over.
100%.
Exactly. I love it. And that is all we have for tonight's show. At number 3, we packed our bags and took this show on the road to San Antonio, Texas. Auburn basketball in the Final Four for just the second time in school history, and we were right there, live from the Alamo Dome, telling Auburn's story on the biggest stage in college basketball. Today, we're here in San Antonio at the Final Four, and I know you're like, Final Four? When we last left you, we were talking about the round of 32, and to experience this, the Final Four in San Antonio, it's quite the experience, quite the slew of games as well, so certainly one to remember. Auburn faithful, congratulations on a great season, and we're going to wrap up this episode, this basketball special episode of Sports Night in Auburn. To number 2 we go, a place where resilience met pure entertainment. A sidelined Micah Farmer was able to break down the action while leaning on crutches. Literally. Unexpected, unforgettable, and famous Jameis Winston-esque as it could get.
It's a game-time decision for their game versus the Celtics. And then I also have an ankle injury, and I was not a game-time decision. We were still going to be here regardless, but on the crutches, rocking out, you see what we got going on. I got the brace under the khaki pants right now that you can't see, even though our cameraman's doing a great job panning down to that, so shout out Jack behind the camera. But that is your full injury update for this week. Now let's chuck it back on over to Vince.
This is my team. My name is Vince Wolfram. This has been Sports Night in Auburn. And now Micah Farmer is going to hit his famous Jameis Winston celebration.
War Eagle, word to Jameis Winston. Y'all have a great night.
And at number 1, it was loud, it was chaotic, and it made no sense. But it was absolutely perfect. The boom heard round Auburn. What began as a tribute to 2 Costco guys turned into a delivery of not 1, not 2, but 5 big, unforgettable booms. Guys, I thought this episode was pretty awesome.
I did too.
I agree with that.
I think it deserves to be rated on the boom meter. What do you guys say?
The boom meter.
In my opinion, 5 big booms. What do we say? Ready?
5.
I think 5 big booms. Here we go. Boom! 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 Good night and War Eagle.
War Eagle.
That is all the time we have for you on this episode, this season, this year of Sports Night in Auburn. Make sure to follow our Eagle Eye TV Sports Instagram and subscribe to our Eagle Eye TV YouTube page. For this amazing group, especially our seniors, I want to welcome in our producer of 41 Sports Night in Auburn episodes, JoJo Cavanagh, first time in the studio. I want to welcome in our seniors, Maddie and Albert as well, and our entire team of seniors, juniors, sophomores, freshmen, everybody in the back room. We are so thankful for you. And signing off for the last time, my name is Vince Wolfram. It's been an absolute honor. Good night and War Eagle.